Religion played a big role in the contests that took place in sports, most notably in ancient Rome and Greece. Many of these games were dedicated to the honor of certain gods and as such were part of the religious nature of the society. Starting in ancient Greece, there are many examples of religion found in the contests that took place there, particularly in the funeral games and the Olympics. It is stated that the Greeks honored their chief god Zeus in honor of the dead and hoped they made it to the afterlife. It is also important to know that the competitions that were held during other such festivals, such as the city Dionysia of Athens and the Panhellenic Games at the most important sacred sites of Olympia, Delphi, and Nemea, were held in order to honor a particular god. It could be said that religion was the very basis of sports in ancient Greece, as every competition and contest that held importance was dedicated in order to honor the patron god of the city it was held in. Moving on, sport was important in ancient Greece as it allowed men to train themselves physically to achieve as perfect a body as they could. This is highly connected to religion, as the Greek gods were also portrayed as idolized human beings, perfect images of masculinity and femininity, and as such this encouraged physical training in athletes in athletics to attain perfection. Ancient Greece is not the only society to have religion deeply tied to their culture, however, and Rome is another great example. While Rome had very similar gods to ancient Greece, the games that were held were very different and often more violent. In ancient Rome, we see very different competitions being held. Unlike ancient Greece, chariot racing and boxing, while they were still occasionally done, were not as popular with the citizens of Rome. The main event that was held that attracted all the citizens was the gladiatorial games. In Rome, we still see religion being a big part of the games being held, but on different levels. The Romans were also polytheistic, and at the head of their pantheon was Jupiter, chief god of Rome. The presentations of spectacles by the state, which usually included gladiator matches, as well as some other minor games including chariot racing, were held in honor of Jupiter, in order to bring prosperity to the city in which the games were held. In hard times, the people of Rome thought that the blood spilled during the gladiator games, dedicated to a certain god, would bring them good fortune, and as such more gladiatorial games were held during droughts or bad harvests. Not all games had to do with good or honorable religious reasons, however, and this is evident in the Roman games, particularly against the Christian community. It is known that Christians were thrown into the arena either to fight against the trained gladiators, just to show that the Romans worshipping the polytheistic gods were stronger, or placed in the arena with wild beasts such as lions. This type of sport and spectacle in ancient Rome shows just because it was religious does not mean that any good came out of it. Religion in sports did not stop with ancient Rome, however, and is still evident in sports today. Religious organizations, one of the big ones include the Catholic Church, support local teams by contributing funds towards uniforms, travel costs, and more. This is not the only place religion is found in modern times, however, and a number of famous athletes have dedicated their wins and achievements to God or the help their early team got from the church and stuff. A famous example of this is Tim Tebow, a football and baseball player who always knelt in games in order to honor God for the opportunity to play. In conclusion, religion played a big role in both ancient and modern sports. It determined what sports and competitions were held, where they were held, and what sort of athletes and slaves in the Roman case were participating. Religion is still prevalent today as well, and with the funding and partnership with sports, it doesn't look like religion will leave sports anytime soon.